greatest beast the world has ever seen. I feed him every day like the bones clean. I feed him all the hate and he grows me. And he gets claws real big, pissed off quick. And if you cross him, you might drop dead. Metaphorically, of course, settling the score. Never getting bored, loves the blood and gore. Always wanting more, feeding from the source. They don't really understand it.
All right. Everybody welcome.
Man, you frozen. We all.
Frozen.
Oh, you was. The what?
Everybody welcome in to Real Talk with Spoon and Pudding. I can't help about the freezing stuff. There's a lot of activity on the Wi-Fi right now, but the vote for you, so they're still here.
Yeah. Let's try something different since you're back now. And you.
Well, let me run through my disclaimer, and then we'll.
Oh, fuck the disclaimer. We ain't talking about no local shit. Just don't take anything out of context. That's it. We're done.
We're not liable for anything.
Nope, not liable for our opinions. Opinions are opinions. Everyone's got one. They're all ass. Oops, it's still gonna make 30 seconds. All right. I don't know what the hell that is with YouTube and the 30 seconds rule, but we're just cellared there. So we've been off for extended time because one of us had some issues health wise.
Still got some issues, but I'm better than what I was.
Well, yeah. That's why we haven't been on, but I was thinking about this. That's why I sent you that Tucker, thing with Joe Rogan. Yeah, you haven't watched it yet. So, but you see, I'm going to leave my phone over there. I'm not going to touch it. I think we missed a lot of our original point to get on here and have a conversation. And then, we start trying to put things up and say things and then like talk about this story and get another person's reaction or a shock, look at this. Oh God, what about this? Or someone from the city's done this, you give a shit about all that, man.
So tonight we're just going old school, right? Just going old school.
Well, I wanted to, like looking at what Rogan and Tucker were talking about, it was pretty interesting how they just two people having a conversation, about things. And you brought up tonight what we was going to talk about before you ended up in the hospital. If you want to, I'll let you go. You go ahead. You tell people what happened. What happened? What if you want to, you said it on your Facebook, so you might as well say it here.
Well, for anybody that cares, I was sick for about a month, and I had pneumonia. And I had it real bad, and we lost our grandfather during that time, so I was trying to stick out, be tough during that time to get through that. But after about 3 or 4 weeks of having pneumonia, I went to the ER. The wife kept begging me to let her call the ambulance and stuff for me because I was having a hard time breathing and just had a lot of fluid built up and stuff. And when I went in, I was at AFib, and my heart rate was 236. So needless to say, I spent a week in ICU. I got congestive heart failure, but they were able to shock it back in, get me back in the rhythm. Taking it was more, but now I think I'm down to 8 or 9 pills in the morning and then 6 or 7 at night. That's about it. They found something on my thyroid. They think that might be cancer that they're going to do a biopsy on. Anyway, it was just a whole list of everything. Everything was tumbling down that hill. So needless to say, I can't work. Heart doctor took me off work. I did get some positive news today because I seen the heart doctor again that some of the tests come back and they were better than what he thought. So he has a little more optimism about me making a full recovery. Maybe not a full recovery, but as close as the full as I can, and I can get back to work and normal things. He said it revealed that they didn't get the arteriogram, but the one they did is a close to the arteriogram, but it showed no blockages in the 4 valves, I guess, and then the leading to it. He said 2 of them was built up with plaque, but it wasn't real bad. So he did say I could be a little lenient on my diet because I was on this heart healthy diet for the last 3 or 4 weeks of no salt, no sugar. So
You got to
It's a
stay
long
on
road.
that now.
Yeah, I got to stay
Don't.
on it. But
Mm.
he said
Well,
I
your
could
comment.
relax a little bit. But you know,
Well, your comment today about he said you could cheat, once a week. You need to stop that. What's your how much weight you dropped
50 pounds from the 8th to now. I've dropped 50 pounds.
from the hospital to now? 50.
Yeah, the day I went to the hospital today, I'm down 50.
Yeah. Well, that's why we haven't been on for 3-4 weeks now. But,
Yeah, I've been dealing with a lot
Yeah.
of stuff. But
lots of
I
shit.
I think we've got a grab on it now. It's just maintaining it and moving forward. So I think now we can get back in routine for a while.
Well, what was we? But the one topic we talked about was, I don't know. My parents this morning, they texted me something saying, like the news thing. You brought it up this morning, or this afternoon.
This afternoon,
And
yeah.
My parents said something about the Biden administration is going to fly people from Gaza to America. And we were having our conversation before you end up in the hospital about immigrants and is it over? Is it game over? Was there, is there hope? And what was it? So our conversation before you went in the hospital went way into would you call that way into left field?
It did. But
oh my God,
we started talking about the legal immigration process, and then he brought up the kids, and I said, well, what do we do with the kids? I mean, the kids are innocent.
And I'm like,
I don't know what we do, but we got to do something. And
and I took it to just the darkest side of humanity.
Well, you was talking about taking the cartel.
So from what we were hearing a couple of weeks ago about these people that are coming across the border and they say they got a kid with them, they don't even know if the kid's theirs. They're not even checking. They're not really vetting. They're just letting them on through. They could be cartel people with a child that they bought from a family down there. And you made the comment, well, we got to be, we got to do something for the kid. And I'm like, the parents didn't give a about the kid. Why should I? If the parent would, if you're a parent, and you don't know where your kid is, then why should anybody give a damn about where your kid is? If you don't even know or don't even care, and I get it. If a kid wants to be an adult, that's not a kid. They want to make their own decisions. They want to go their own way. They want to do their own thing, and you want to disown them. Well, that's fine. You were talking about these 3-year-old, mijas or whatever the Mexicans want to call them, that might be sold from some parent down there in Guatemala or some shit that they just had a kid that didn't want it. And then the cartel guy comes, I'll give you $2,000 for it so he can come across the border. And it's like, well, you could DNA test to find out if it's his kid. And I said, well, if it ain't his kid, let's send him to a spot in a frozen area with like a tea light candle and a book of matches and say, good luck, bastard. Because that's the kind of piece of shit he is. The hell with him. Who gives a shit about him? Because he's an adult and he made his decision.
It's kind of
and
a
when you said
sword,
the kid,
because the kid, it's kind of a double-edged sword. Because say it's a 3 or 4-year-old, they didn't ask to be there. I understand their parents didn't care.
No, they didn't ask to be there. But where's the parent?
Somebody's got to care about him. Is what my point was.
Yeah, and you went into that dark place that was just as dark as where I was kind of at, talking about what do we put them in a shelter and they got 2 weeks to be adopted or else.
Well, if you look at the problem in our country right now, it seems like the majority care about animals way more than they do people. And if you took these, we talked about the second time, right? You said we take.
Well, I suggested, since they're not a citizen, they're not naturally born, since they violated the law or their parents didn't give enough rat's ass about them to keep them at home. And I get that sometimes kids could be stolen. I understand that could happen too. But if you're a parent and you wouldn't die for your kid, what kind of parent are you? Honestly,
Well,
I mean,
well,
really, seriously.
Look at some of those Middle Eastern countries that were so
The
were
kids
so poverty.
are, but the kids, no. Most, look, most normal people, their kids are their most cherished possession. Period. That's it.
Right.
That's all there is to it.
Absolutely. But I mean, some of those Middle Eastern countries, they would send their kids out to walk in front of the ox, just in case the mines were out there, because they couldn't afford to lose the ox, but they could afford to lose a child.
Well, they got enough. Well, okay, then at that point, well, if he's all right, well, again, I don't know, boom. You know, I mean,
what I'm saying is somebody's got to step in and protect those children from the idiots that are their parents, or the people that stole them, or the people.
You're still, you know. See, that's where we get off in the, you know, in the weed. You still look like there's a fix to stupidity. That, you know, ignorance is curable. It's not. And I mean, there's some people that just maybe have too many kids, and they just look at it that way. Like, well, I've got 2 ox and 10 kids, so I guess I could lose 6 kids for 1 ox before I have to, you know, stop putting them in front of the ox for the mine, if that's what, you know. But they could have come up with an American solution that was more thoughtful, of having a track out in front of the ox that would just roll across the ground like a steamroller, and the ox would just push it. The Soviets were that way. I say that because the Soviets were worried about the mines and their tanks, and they had their soldiers walk out in front of the tanks, protect the tanks, try to find the mines. And the Americans said, well, why don't you just put a wheelbarrow type cart out in front of them to set the mines off, you know, 20 feet in front of the tank, you dummies.
They wouldn't
save your humans, because they didn't care. Huh?
Yeah, they wasn't that smart, and then they don't really care.
Yeah, it wasn't that they weren't that smart. The Soviets just had so many people they didn't give a shit about them. Which, if the Muslims got so many people, or the Mexicans got so many people, don't give a shit about their mijas, well then whatever. Then why should I give a shit about them? Honestly. And you went to the kill shelter, but you went there after I said, well, hold on.
We said we was going to send them back first. We said if they came back.
No. First, I went with this could tie in with abortion, where the liberals in California want the baby to be born and just lay on a stretcher in the next room and die. That's how far abortion. That's how. Well, that's I'm telling you. That's how far the left in California is. Yep. They are there. They want that the baby could be birthed and then just left in a room. And hey, if it doesn't survive, well, fucking ain't going to survive.
Well, if that's the case, what's the difference killing a 4 or 5 or 7-year-old? There ain't no difference.
Well, I know. That's what I'm saying. There comes a slippery slope, which that was a topic for Rogan and Tucker. They had it on their show, and I would highly advise y'all. It was last week, I think, and I would advise people. It's 3 hours and 7 minutes, but it was definitely. I watched it twice.
It's probably worth it.
It's worth it because you hear Tucker coming out and saying he realizes that some of his stances from 20 years ago were just wholly wrong. And it was freeing for him to admit it now, to say, I was wrong about the war in Iraq. You know, and I was supportive of the war in the beginning, but I changed my mind. I changed my mind probably around, I think it was 2009 or something. I think I had a guy who did 3 tours in Iraq, and he showed me some private video on his computer that he wasn't supposed to have of his Humvee and IEDs blowing up. And he worked at the company I worked for at the time. And then he showed me a convoy of contractors who went down a dead end dirt road outside of Baghdad. And it was a dead end, and all the residents there knew that. It's like, if you know of a cul-de-sac road here in Portland somewhere, just, you know some roads. What's a long road that's about a mile and then dead ends and you got a cul-de-sac? Think of one. I'm sure or even a half mile.
Bonnie Drive. It's
okay. So you just mentioned that road. You live on that road. You know that, or your neighbors, or say they're not far from you live, and they call you and they say, hey, a Chinese convoy just went down Bonnie Road. And you know that convoy is coming back. You know what I mean? So basically, the convoy got ambushed on their way out, and he showed me this video. And he, he said he told me we had talked a couple times at work. It might have been 10, but he showed me that video, and basically, you got to see the Iraqis going and grabbing their AKs and grabbing their weapons and setting up. And I sat there and I watched it. And then when he got done showing it to me, he looked at me and I said, "You know, if that was a Chinese convoy on Bonnie Road, we'd probably do the same fucking thing. No different. Be no different.
We would light them
than
up.
what they're doing to us. And why am I supposed to hate them for what they're doing to us?
That was the military.
Because they won't. Well, it was a. Well, when the shooting started, the military guys bugged out, and the guy that was filming was a truck driver. He was a contractor.
Right.
He was in a what they call the Leary or whatever, the cab over type vehicle from the Europe. It was cheaper to ship them from Europe into Iraq to run convoys than it was to ship them from America.
They were still armored.
No, they weren't armored. He had a Kevlar curtain.
What?
Nope. Kevlar curtain. That's what he had. He had a Kevlar curtain. As you see him pull it and go in the back and hide. Basically, the air support didn't recognize the road was a dead end or something, and they got turned around on the road. And like I said, they went down the road, and next thing you know, they're in a dead end. And they're turning around, going back up the street. Well, the ambush is waiting for them. And I was sitting there. That's all I could think, huh?
Why did it take Tucker so long to realize that we should have never been over there? He's a smart guy.
I mean, he talked about a lot, but it was, it's been more recent that he's come out and said the Iraq war was wrong. It wasn't, like I said, it was, it was the Tea Party movement and started to understand the founders that got me waking up in 2009. And then when I seen that video, I was like, yep, that settles it. We shouldn't be in any of these countries. What are we doing there?
Hell, we was there for 30 years.
What? In Iraq?
Iraq and Afghanistan about 30 years.
Oh, shit. No, 20. 2001. We're not talking about.
But the first, we never left from the first Desert Storm. What are you talking about?
Well, we've had bases over there since the 90s, yeah, or nearby, not in Iraq. We didn't have bases in Iraq after Desert Storm.
Well, I'm talking about from the late 80s, early 90s, had hundreds and thousands of troops over there.
Oh, we've got, of course, our government medals, and they spend your, at this point,
they're all out, but they're still not out. All out.
I want to speak truthfully. Because they're not spending your tax dollars. They're spending your spending power. That's what they're spending at this point.
Yeah.
They haven't been spending your tax dollars in decades. Just get used to it. They borrow the money they spend. They don't take it to respend it. They take it to pay the interest on the debt, and they take it as a show. And it's all it's going to be. It's going to be a show. When they don't got to worry about budgets, and your idea for this show was to get into the city, and they're no different. They're just small government.
Exactly.
So you got small government with their little police force, and you got big government with the military and CIA and all that other bullshit. But in the end, it's they just they'll spend your future. They're leveraging and mortgaging your future, and that's okay, whatever. All right, gotcha. But it was interesting because I seen that, but it was interesting watching him backtrack and say he was wrong on the war in Iraq, and then he started talking about 9/11, which was wow. He got into that because I wish we could talk to him. God, I would love to have a conversation with him because I see his face and his little red bow tie constantly from that movie Zeitgeist.
Talk about Tucker Carlson?
Yeah. when that movie Zeitgeist, when they segued out of the religious talk and went into the 9/11 conspiracy talk, they used him as the segue. It was him that they put in there to position, because you think he's arguing about religion, but he's not. He's arguing about how dare you think that the U.S. government would kill 3,000 of its own citizens. And I'm sitting there thinking, why would
in a heartbeat? No. In a heartbeat.
Oh no, he's had a lot of awakening here lately, so it's interesting to see his awakening. But at least he's trying to be honest, and that's what he says. He mainly, if you watch it, you'll see this. Don't be dishonest. And that's what we live in. We live in the age of dishonesty. But William Cooper called that. If y'all don't know who William Cooper is, you can look the guy up, Bill Cooper.
What do you think? What do you think about Candace Owens?
Good, better than if if you want to go down the religious road of Ben Shapiro and Owens, I'm just going to tie one. I'm going to tie one on.
I'm not talking about religiously. I'm talking about the way they think about things logically when it comes to the way our country should be. Because some entertaining things is watching Candace Owens speak at some of these colleges and places, and these transgenders and LBGs trying to call her out. And I mean, she's smacking them in the face left and right, just coming right back with them. I'm like, and if people want to understand the level of stupidity we have in this country, just watch some of those episodes, but takes that they have of Candace Owens where she's speaking. Even when she was pregnant, she was 8 or 9 months pregnant, speaking at these schools. And
well, she's sharp as a whip. She's sharp as a whip, and won't pull no punches and runs out on a limb and doesn't care, which is fine. I mean, you can run out on a limb and don't care. I mean, I'll go out on a limb and not care. And if I end up being proven wrong, at least I'll admit it. But
the point is, her leadership is needed, right? And if you dig into that party, you can throw out a big chunk. Just like you can find good ones like her in the Democrat Party, but for the majority, they just need to be gone.
Who in the Democrat Party?
Well, I'm just saying, if you dug hard enough, you'd probably find somebody like her you could keep, 1 or 2. I'm not saying I know anybody.
It wouldn't be
Biden. It wouldn't be Pelosi. It wouldn't be Schumer. It wouldn't be Mitch McConnell. It would be none of them.
Well, McConnell's actually a Republican, unfortunately. Yeah. Sorry, Kentucky. Y'all need to fix that.
Well, sorry.
Our neighbors to the north, get your head on straight and vote. He keeps having glitches in his programming or something. You've seen it, don't you?
I was doing a deal there. You know how they pick and choose what Republicans. Oh, he's not a Republican. Oh, he's not a Republican.
Yeah, but Trump, man, he's the Trump man. He's the man.
Who was the one behind Obamacare?
Oh, Romney.
Yeah, Mitt Romney. Oh, he's not a Republican. Yeah.
Oh, he's not a Republican now, but you voted for him in 2012.
Yeah.
Some of us woke up in 2009 and said, "Wait a minute, these founders they were onto something."
I still can't believe they pinned that Obamacare on Obama when it was introduced by the Republicans, and after they tore it apart and finally passed it, they go, "Oh, it's Obama's fault." It's like, really? It was all your bill.
Well, I mean, I'm not going to say that. It was Pelosi. You've seen her famously sitting up there saying, "Well, we got to pass it to find out what's in it." And it's like, hey, we just happen to have, 9,000 some odd pages of healthcare legislation sitting over there in a desk drawer.
No law or bill should be longer than 15 pages, and it should be read, understood before it's voted on.
I would argue completely against that, even 15 pages, because who's to say that the page isn't that size?
No, I'm talking about
all
15,
that little fine print.
15.
No.
Like
I watched somebody today on the show who was talking about 13th Amendment freed the slaves and the 14th Amendment made us all slaves. And I thought, well, that's a good way to put it. Because if you go back and you think about the Emancipation Proclamation and the 13th Amendment and what it did, it freed the slaves, and it clearly says it in there, in the rebelling states. It was penned by Lincoln's administration. It freed the slaves in the repelling states. Rebelling.
And they recruited them up north to fight, and the North still had their slaves.
Well, the North marched a lot of them around and shown off the look at our Negro soldiers. That's what they said. What they called them. That's what they said. The North paraded them around like, little ponies with, like, look at this. Look at our little pony up here, our show pony. Look what we're doing. And then they sent them in the movie. If you haven't watched the movie Glory, I recommend that movie. It was a great movie. Had Morgan Freeman and Denzel Washington. And, but they sent them up on a grindstone. They sent them out to a fort that even after the war was over, that fort wasn't conquered. They didn't conquer that fort in South Carolina. That fort surrendered because the government gave up. But that fort just resupplied. All the men that charged the fort died. You couldn't take that fort. It was in shallow water. They couldn't get a ship closed. There was one land bridge that led to it, and that fort was held until after the war was over, or until Jefferson Davis, had the peaceful surrender of the South.
Old Fort Sumter. They held Old Fort Sumter.
I don't know. Well, Sumter was the one fort, but I don't know if it was Sumter that they sent men up on Glory. But they basically sent them on a death mission. It was, you were dead. If they sent you to charge that fort, you were dead. But that movie was good, but the truth is it really wasn't, like I said, when that guy made that quote, he's like, the 13th Amendment freed the slaves and the 14th Amendment made us all slaves. I said, that's a damn good quote. Because if y'all don't know where your citizen shit came from and all this central government shit came from the 14th. That's where it started. That was the beginning of it. That was, to me, looking at all the amendments and looking at the encroachment of government, it began there. That's when we lost it. Before then, there was, you had some rights. After that, no.
Rights?
No. Well,
what right?
The restructuring that the South had no vote in, had no quarrels, couldn't argue against because their votes were irrelevant. The South was just forcefully yanked back into the Union. And like I tell everybody, if you think it was about slavery, then you really haven't sat down and pondered that war.
There was control of the media even back then. That was...
Well, the control of the media, what was it? Lincoln arrested half the legislature in Maryland because he didn't want them to secede. He shut down all the presses in the North that had Southern sympathizing printers running because he didn't need the propaganda of the North saying, well, all the South wants is states' rights. Because that's really what they wanted, states' rights. They didn't want central government. They wanted states' rights. That's what it was about. And I'll use my famous quote that I always challenge anyone on the Civil War about. If you think a poor white farmer picked up his rifle and risked his life because the rich plantation owner had some slaves picking cotton, you need to really seriously rethink that, because that is not why someone like me or Spoon would risk our life to go down a front line because some rich person in Portland, had some forced help. I would be like, no, I'm all for the forced help getting free. If a rich family in Portland had some forced help on their, forced to live there and do work for them, I'd free them.
I don't agree with slavery in any manner.
That's what I'm saying. I don't agree with slavery, but now, thanks to the 14th Amendment, we're all slaves.
We're all slaves to our government. Absolutely.
Oh, they own your ass. But I just wanted to get into that and, let you come back slow. Don't want to take too long of your time.
I'm not going to fall over and die of a heart attack.
You sure? Just get it on air so we can get some views.
Well, the funny thing is, the first week after seeing the cardiologist and he changed up my medicine, I was taking like 10, 11 in the morning and like 1 or 2 in midday and then like another 7 or 8 at night. Well, my wife, she's taking care of me. She's making sure all my medicine's in the container, the days, and what food I can eat. Well, the first week, I just felt like crap every day, and I was real dizzy every time I got up, walked, real loose. I just felt awful. Well, after about the fourth day, she figured out that one of the big pills she was giving me in the morning, it did say one time a day, but it was supposed to be bedtime. That one pill was messing with the rest of it, when it making me all kinds of loopy. Not mess with the rest. You're just trying to kill me. That's all you're trying to do. Make it look like an accident.
It's easy. Just get some Reese's. Put them in the house.
Well, yeah.
Big spoon phone home.
I have no self control when it comes to Reese's.
Yeah, just put a trail of peanut butter cups.
If you put a trail, I'll probably walk like a dog and eat them.
Like little Pac-Man, a big spoon Pac-Man. Waka, 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 waka.
That's right.
Oh Lord! But anyway, we'll try to get one up Sunday. We may do a pre-record tomorrow or whatever and try that out, and then have it air Sunday if you're up for it.
Yeah, we get one done.
Well, we'll get something up and maybe try to do some more. But no, it was interesting. I mean, I don't want to go too long tonight. Just wanted to get something up. I mean,
get our feet wet, get back in there, get it going.
Yeah, we'll let you tell everybody why we've been gone so long. The only local thing that I had was the Sumner County taxes. Ooh, boy, really. Yeah,
I hadn't even looked at mine yet. What is it? I've heard a lot of people.
Apparently, this place out here tripled in value, according to the assessment.
Uh-huh.
Yeah. We're going to argue it back because we haven't upgraded shit in this place. You know what I mean? You've seen it.
It's all for they can get money that they can mismanage.
Well, I guess the city, if their properties tripled in value, if they're in Portland, they can go from having a $50 million deficit to a $150 million. What do you think?
Well, I got to pay both, so that if the county went
No. I'm saying since the cities now their infrastructure and their roads and all the bullshit that they claim is so great is now 3 times more valuable than it was at the beginning of the year. They can borrow 3 times the money, right? The mayor can run down and he can run the deficit up to $150 million. And well, remember our property values tripled.
Yeah.
It's all dog.
All they're worried about right now is the strawberry festival. Got to paint them strawberries and make that square look good.
Oh yeah,
strawberry festival.
I won't be going. Don't need nothing up there. Just a bunch of overpriced vendors on the square. That's right. I mean, if I want to buy a $20 bead necklace, I'll actually call an Indian on a reservation somewhere.
But if we were smart, we'd take us a couple big up there and some coolers and stuff and sell.
Oh no! You got to have a permit. Remember, you got to have a permit. I'm sure you got to.
Yeah.
You got to pay your penance. You got to let the maybe you could do a strip show for the mayor.
You'd have to go through the ringer with the city, and they probably turn somebody like me and you down. But guess what? They don't own all the property. They don't own all the property up there. So,
well, I don't know. They'd probably find a way to send their Gestapo over to teach you a lesson. Yeah. I wonder. Hey,
well, would you rather pay $2? Would you rather pay $1 for a hot dog and $2 for a hamburger, or the 5, 6, 7, 8 you're going to pay with the rest of them in there? I mean, let's be serious.
Well, you know what they're going to do. I mean,
they're going to keep us out or shut us down. That's exactly what they would do.
Well, I see that was when I don't know if so I was in the Tea Party movement, and we went to a rally, and I hate to go back to it, but we went to a rally. It was Lake Eola. It was in Lake Eola. If y'all don't know Orlando, Lake Eola is one of the famous little lakes there in Orlando. It's got a little fountain in the middle of it. It's been there for a couple decades. Hell, it's been there since I was born, I think. I don't know. But anyway, So they had a little Tea Party rally there in 2000 and late 2009, I think. My sign said WWJD. See, I say WWJD. What do you think?
What would Jesus do?
Okay, mine. I changed the name. It was Jefferson. Because I was learning. I was starting to really get into the founders. So I said, what would Jefferson do? And that was my little play with words back then. But anyway, there was a Mexican lady, and again, right back to the immigrant. She's walking around, has the little bitty "Don't Tread on Me" flags. Walking around the crowd, got a bunch of them, asking $1. It'll be "Don't Tread on Me," Gadsden flag, $1. But you had the shop who paid his penance over there next to the stage of this tea party. He wants $5 for that same fucking flag.
Yep.
And I watched the organizers of this rally kick that Mexican lady out of there because she didn't have a permit. And I looked at my mom and I told her, I said, do you see what we just seen? She said, what's that? I said, they just shut that lady. I said, I'm ready to leave. I'm done. And she's like, what are you talking about? I said, this is the co-oping. This is what's coming. This is the Tea Party movement getting control of the blind people who don't see their hypocrisy and funneling them right back into the Republicards. I mean, just right to the Republicards.
You remember what the city told you about when y'all was going to set up stand up there on the farmer's market to sell eggs and stuff? What they tell you?
Yeah, we got to have $500,000 for a farmer's market. What was that? Harbin, I believe it was.
Yeah,
Michelle.
She's not with them anymore, but yeah, Michelle Harbin.
She's not with them no more. But the shitty at the time, my wife said, "What about us setting up and sell eggs at the farmer's market?"
I thought it was $1 million.
I think it was $500,000 or $1 million. It was some stupid, ungodly amount. And I thought to myself, I said, I guess unless I'm your friend, or I'm somehow powerful to sell the eggs that we, and I don't, like I said, I don't give it, you know what? We have a mutual friend who has a freeze dryer. And at this point, I'm going to funnel every damn egg I get that nobody wants to buy over to him. And then we'll split them, whatever, and we'll have freeze-dried protein that's going to last 20 years, and it'll be sitting in a bag, and who cares? I don't care. Because I like my chicken. Some people buy dog food, I buy chicken food. That's me.
Yeah, I thought it was hilarious, though, because somebody else sold some of the same stuff, and they didn't want competition. Oh, you got to have $1 million of
well, you got to show us that you've got this much license and insurance for to sell your farmed goods here, so you need to, you know what I mean? And all I can think of is, here's that 14th fucking amendment again.
But I don't even understand that, because the city owns the parking spots back there, right where the square is, where y'all was going to.
But no, you're missing the point. It's billed and marketed as a farmer's market.
Yeah, what it is a bunch of freaking tables set up. That's all it is. But what I'm saying is, what's the difference in you parking your car on city property and walking into one of those restaurants and you trip and fall? You didn't have any insurance for tripping and falling. You can sue the city. Don't set up and sell eggs with this table. Something bad might happen,
Well, that's. I mean,
we're not going to go down that rabbit hole.
I don't want to go into it. I know you brought it up, but it was just like I said. That is the whole thing. That's the whole hypocrisy of it all. It was just like, like I said, watching that little Mexican lady, trying to make 50 cents a flag, get kicked out because the guy that bought a permit back there was going to make $4.50 a flag. He bought the flags from the same effing place. I mean, it's no different. But I mean, and then you got the cities that do the same thing. They all do it. That's why I'm saying, if I want to buy a $20 necklace that's beaded, I'll just call some Indian reservation or go on some Indian res out in Arizona and get it for $5 shipped here. And it was actually made by an Indian, not made by some person who's the cousin of some aristocrat in the town of Portland who's got a, tent and wants 4 times the value of some shit at a strawberry festival.
the comical thing about this is this city and the chamber, they preach about local, shop local, buy local, support local things. But when they have the strawberry festival, all these local places have to shut down because the parking's gone, this and that.
I have a friend, and I'm not going to say his name, but he was telling me about this. Well, I got two. I got you too, man. I think
I never said I was your friend.
Oh, okay. Well, fuck you too then. Just cuddle me. Give me some of that big warmth you got there, Mr. Spoon.
I'm gonna keep it to myself.
You're gonna keep it to yourself. Anyway, no, so and I'm not gonna bring his name up, but if he wants to come on here, he's got an invite and he'll watch it. He watches it. So but he's got he had a property bought, and he told me I could talk about this, but I'm not going to say him by name. There's a property he bought in Portland in 2022, and the taxes were escrowed. And since it was bought in 2022, in 23 the taxes came through. I see your little peekaboo. So in 23 the taxes came through, and they sent the tax receipt to the wrong address. What the hell is that? Is that a peekaboo getting humped by a rabbit?
No, it was
oh, an elephant. Dumbo got him some peekaboo. Okay, so anyways, it wasn't in his allotment of houses. So he went to the county, and basically they called him the day his taxes were due and told him, hey, you going to pay these property taxes? Because you're late. You're delinquent now. And he's like, oh. Well, y'all didn't send it in my regular packet, and they sent it to the wrong house. And basically, he's arguing with them over the $29 late fee. And when he went in there that very day to pay the property taxes, they told him $29. He's like, y'all need to waive this. And they're arguing with him, saying that he can't waive his $29 late fee when they purposefully let it elapse. And basically, when they found out it was returned undeliverable because they sent it to the wrong, everything was wrong about where they mailed it.
Right.
They mailed it to a hybrid of his address and the property's address in Portland. So it was sent out to an address that didn't even exist and returned undeliverable. Then the county of Sumner sat on this. And they didn't do nothing until the day it was late. And then they picked up the phone and called him because now they've got a $29 additional late fee. And this is right before these letters went out saying that we've reassessed your houses and your values have doubled and tripled all across the county. And it's like, what are you doing? Now, again, if you watch, you got an open invite. You know who you are. You can come on here anytime, but I did tell the story like you told me to go ahead and tell that the county is being greedy. But we're talking about greedy government. You know, here we talk about greedy government and what they do to you. And in the end, they're not spending your taxes, people. They're spending your future.
That's right.
They're spending your future. And I think that's a good note to end this on. What do you think? Vote them out. If they're an incumbent, get them the fuck out of there. That's right. All I got to say.
Every damn one.
All incumbents, go out. No, we don't need any more of them. And I didn't say vote Democrat, and I didn't say vote Republican. Hopefully you have the option to pick some motherfucker other than what's on that ticket.
That's
and if you don't have a third choice, I don't know, man. Give it to Captain Morgan, which is what I got in there.
I want y'all to understand. Y'all been voting red and blue for what?
Oh my God, we haven't had the last. It's been 170 years since the Whig Party. Zachary Taylor. He was the last president that wasn't a Republican or a Democrat.
So since Taylor, y'all been red or blue.
Yeah, you've been red or blue since Zachary Taylor, and that was pre-Civil War, people.
But if somebody like me votes libertarian or he votes independent, we're the problem, right? No, the red and blue are the problem. So
no, we ain't the problem.
Vote them out. Vote them out.
We are trying, and if you follow the stats, there's 43% of this country identify as independent. So if you're a statistics person, the majority is something other than the R and the D. I mean, that's really all there is to it. So
see y'all in a few days.
till they feel the
Yeah,
fucking
right,
body. If you start shit, you'll be heartless in the darkness. Torn apart quick, you left
We'll
scars
see y'all
quick, you
next
get chewed
week.
up and
How's that?
discarded.